to do some maintenance to the suspension on your 2010 to 2024 Toyota 4Runner without the KDSS system, these Freedom Off-Road front lower control arms and cam bolts will be a great addition to that list. Now, lower control arms and ball joints and bushings don't last forever, and when they start to go, they can cause some instability in your steering and run down your drivability, especially if you already have modified your suspension. This set here will be a great solution to tightening up your ride for better handling while being a direct OE style replacement, which will work well in daily driving or even off-road applications. Now, these again are going to be incredibly close to the design from the factory control arm, which will not only mimic the design when it comes to the fitment, but when it comes to the ride quality as well. Your front end handling with this kit will improve drastically, allowing you a comfortable ride on the road and confidence that you need off-road, that you have a strong unit holding the system together. And it's also going to come with the cam bolts to allow for proper alignment. Now, this kit will do all of that while being a direct bolt-in replacement, so you're also not going to have to worry about any modifications, drilling, or extra hassle when it comes time to mount up this set. Now, these will be made of high quality steel materials that will be incredibly durable and able to withstand day-to-day and off-road abuse. The A-arm will be covered in a black powder coat to prevent any rusting over time and maintain the integrity of the construction. This will also come with the ball joints and the bushings pre-installed. All are going to have a factory-like construction, which is going to help with articulation in a controlled manner and to eliminate any clunking or additional movement that you don't want or currently have with your worn out setup. Now, everything is going to be pre-greased as well and come with all of the hardware, including the cam bolts, a Newcastle nut, and a cotter pin for each of the ball joints, so you're not going to have to worry about any additional steps in order to get these mounted up. Now, this set is going to be pretty average when it comes to the price at about $400. I think what's great about this option is that you really don't have to question when it comes time to install them what you're getting out of the package and the quality of this set. Now, you are going to be getting everything that you need to drastically improve your drivability and a trusted set of control arms for whatever adventure that you're taking, and it will come with the hardware needed, including the cam bolts that not all choices include, making this a great all-in-one kit. Install here is going to be a 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, taking about 3 hours or so to get the job done with the right tools and setup. I definitely recommend taking your truck in for an alignment after the install is complete if you are doing this yourself. So just keep that in mind when it comes time to install them. However, at this point, we're gonna head over to our shop and check out a detailed breakdown on how you can get this set into your 4Runner at home. So that's gonna wrap it up for my review. Let's go ahead and jump into the install.
Tools required for this install include a couple different size impact guns, 19, 22, 24, and 27 millimeter wrenches, a hammer, a clip remover tool, needle nose pliers, a marker, a puller, a swivel adapter, an extension, 10, 12, 16, 19, 22, 24, and 27 millimeter sockets, and a pole jack or a jack. What's up, guys? Today we're installing some lower control arms on our 4Runner, so let's get started. So we're gonna start with our lower strut bolt here. You're gonna need a 19 millimeter socket and wrench to remove this bolt. Then I'm going to get my wrench behind the flange on the bolt to pull that the rest of the way out. Next, we're going to take a 19 millimeter socket and remove the 2 bolts holding our lower ball joint cradle into place. Now next, we're going to remove our lower ball joint nut. First, you're going to have to get a pair of needle nose pliers and bend back that cotter pin. And then go to the other side and pull that out. Now grab a 24 millimeter socket and remove your lower ball joint nut. Next, we're going to have to remove our skid plate to get access to our lower control arm pivot points. So I'm going to start up front here. We've got a 10 millimeter bolt, the push clip, and another 10 millimeter bolt. Ours over here snapped, so we don't have that one. We'll grab a 10 millimeter socket to pull these out. And then we'll grab a clip remover tool for the clip. And then switch to your 12mm socket for the rest of them. We've got 2 bolts up front and 2 bolts in the back here. So now we can remove our 2 lower control arm bolts. Now, after you replace your lower control arm, you are going to need an alignment. So I'm just going to mark where these bolts are positioned. That way we can get it as close as possible so that it's good enough to drive to the alignment shop. So I'm just going to go in the center of this piece and just take a marker and make my mark where that center line is. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other one. And then once you have those marks made, you can take your 22mm socket and wrench to remove these bolts. I'm going to take the nuts off on one side first, leave the bolts there because there's currently nothing else holding this in. And you're also going to want to keep your head away from over here, because once you loosen up the bolts, this can swing down and give you a good smack. Now I'm going to start pulling these bolts out. I'm going to twist this bolt around to get it to clear this. And then you can lower down your lower control arm. So now the last thing we need to do before we install our new lower control arms is remove our lower ball joint cradle. Now I've got a puller here that I'm going to be using. You can also use a ball joint press on this. So I'm just going to hook these jaws under the metal of that cradle, making sure I'm not pinching that rubber boot of the ball joint. And then I'm going to thread this bolt down onto the stud, just like that. And I'm going to take a 16mm socket to tighten this down. Now these things can be unpredictable sometimes, so just use caution while you're tightening it. Just go a little bit at a time. Now that broke free our lower cradle. So now we can raise our lower control arm up into our mounts and then slide your bolt through. Now we have new bolts with this kit. The thicker one is going towards the front of the car and the thinner one's going towards the rear. Now I'm just going to get my hardware slid onto the other side. And I'm just going to leave these loose for right now. Next, we can swing our lower control arm up to get our strut into that lower strut mount. Now you might need to loosen up your upper strut nuts to get a little bit more play out of the strut. And then you can just tap that bolt the rest of the way through. And then just grab your washer and your nut and thread that onto the other side. And once again, we're just going to leave this one loose for now. Next, we can reinstall our lower ball joint cradle. Slide that onto the ball joint. And then start threading your bolts through. Now once you have your 2 bolts threading, you can take your new nut and thread it onto your ball joint. And then take a 19mm socket going back and forth to evenly tighten down your cradle, and then we'll get to our nut. And then take your 24mm socket to tighten up your nut. You're going to want to make sure that the hole in the stud lines up with these slots in the nut. Now, if it's not lined up once you finish tightening it, you want to tighten it down a little more to get those holes to line up. You never want to loosen to get it to line up. And I've got a little more to go to get it lined up, and that'll do it. So we can take our cotter pin and slide it through that hole, and then grab your needle nose pliers and just bend the ends of that cotter pin around the nut. Now we can go back and tighten down our lower control arm pivot points. Now, whenever you're tightening bushings, you want to do it under load. So I've got a pole jack under the front of the knuckle, raising it up to put a load on the suspension. Now for the rearward bolt, you're going to use a 24mm wrench and socket to tighten that down. And then switch to a 27mm socket and wrench to tighten down the frontward bolt. Now for the forward mount, we're going to need a 27mm socket and wrench. Now with a swivel adapter on the 27, if you have the axle on a flat side, you have just enough room to not make contact with the axle. If you have it rotated like this, where you have this edge facing down, you are going to contact it. So just rotate it so that it's flat, and then grab your 27mm socket and wrench and tighten that down. Now you want to make sure you follow your alignment mark from earlier. You want the edge that's farther away from the bolt centered and lined up with that. So we're going to have to rotate a little bit. So just do that with the wrench on the bolt side and then tighten down the nut side with your socket. And then switch back to your 24 socket and wrench and fully tighten down the rearward mount. Now, while you still have your suspension under load, you can tighten down your lower strut bolt, the 19mm socket and wrench. And then at this point, you can remove that pole jack or jack and take the load off your suspension. Now we can swing our skid plate back up into place and start threading your bolts back in. And then up on the front cover, that one 10mm bolt on each side, as well as the push clip. Now I'll take your 10mm socket for the front two bolts. Now this one was snapped for us. You would have another one there. And then grab your 12mm socket for the other four bolts.
So that is going to wrap it up for my review and the install of these Freedom Off-Road front lower control arms and cam bolts, fitting all 2010 through 2024 4Runners without the KDSS system. And you can find this kit right here at extremeterrain.com.